Alright, Chapter 8, Sensors. Design Principle and Integration Example for the speed sample is the absolute position sensors. Sensor for the sensor of the traction motor bearing the account for the offer the several detection measure for the operative for the absolute with the position detection for the traction motor control of the undivided for the tree faction direction detection direction for the rotation speed measure for the brake control system with the temperature measurement and mounting operation conditions. Design principle for the integrated sensor for the concept of the offer the several detection measurements operative for the sum of the absolute position detection traction motor control design detection the direction and rotational speed the measure for the brake control system if the need for the temperature measure for the mounting reliability most key for the bolt save for the integrated with the sealing system over the outer ring with the bearing unit the design with the over shovel the opportunities over the space and in a part save with the sensor the design benefit of the compact solution of spacing 70 everything especially with the axle direction of the conveyor with the conventional sensor for the device for the robust design with the fewer parts than the new to the impulse the wheel with the high resolution accuracy easier sensor replacement design for longer life. Integration example of classic design in many applications for the classic traction motor design on the non-drive side of the B for the non-cylindrical roller bearing to achieve the location function for the NUP design with the cylindrical roller bearing NJ to design cylindrical roller bearing HJ angle with the ring with the application for the either of these cylindrical roller bearings enable to even the man with the comparison for the deep groove with the ball bearing usually loaded rating with a deep groove ball bearing with the insufficient. On the other hand, with the cylindrical roller bearing, it's other often oversized. They're important for the AC three-phase technique. Most detection is needed for the propulsion system. The conventional design is reliable. The applying with the tube of the wheel with the fixed rotor with the shaft with the main cape with the seal function with the cylindrical roller bearing is based on the laminated steel with the both sides of the bearing. Substitute for the conventional design may be principle of the required velocity space, especially with the axle rate direction from the area of the wheel flange nearby with the total length of the traction motor apply with the gearbox limit with the gauge for the wheel flange with the design limits for the axis of the rotor length with which and principle of the code for the linear function for the total traction motor power. Basic idea implementation of the traction motor bearing unit is substitute for the tooth wheel mounted with the traction motor shaft with the sensor for the mounting with the intermediate housing of the traction motor cylindrical roller bearing, which is often oversized. The laminate seal for the both sides of the cylindrical roller bearing, classic design of the non-driving arrangement of the traction motor, and then substitute for the classical design with incorporating the traction motor bearing unit and pulse ring sensor cylindrical roller bearing on a two-seal sealing system. Traction motor bearing unit with the composite with the include with a pre-lubricated seal with the bearing unit with the unit's base with the deep groove ball groove with the U with the non-driver side with the traction motor rotor impulse with the direction directly with the traction bearing unit with the sensor with its fixed for the outer ring. Implementation of traction motor bearing unit with the incorporated with the traction other design enable the manufacturer to save space for the axle direction, therefore the total length of the traction motor can include with the axis of the rotor with the length with the increase with the higher power with the rated G with the traction motor bearing unit is fitted with the rotor shaft with the intermediate traction motor housing fitted flagged out ring with the pre-mount with the sum of the axle move with the traction motor save further information details chapter 10. Comparison of active rotor length, the traction motor bearing unit concept, conventional design, and tooth wheel. Show the traction motor bearing unit on the left and the implementation example to save space. Speed sensors. These sensors include with the code ring with the link with the rotating inner ring with the bearing with the code ring magnetized with the sequence with the north-south magnetic pole with the magnetic field. The sensor include with the sensor by with the detect stream with the magnetic field with the convert with the digital signals. Each rotation shaft that produces predefined number of the pole. The sensor also provides rotational speed incremental output. Speed sensor technical data, mechanical data, minimum, technical, maximum, cable length with mounting position connector, electrical data, supply voltage, supply current, push and pull output, sensor accuracy, overspeed, temperature, sensor resolution, permissible rotation speed, measuring range, environmental data, operating temperature, CEM, EMC, protection class, shock, vibration. Alright, this shows the output speed center with a pulse signal with a 90 degrees phase of the difference whether enable the direction rotation determination, direction rotation detection. The speed sensor of the two outputs A and B with the do with its phase over the shift between A and B with the output the direction rotation can be defined with the design of the absolute sensor for the shield the output provided the angle the binary format other output available to record the SK with the integrated provided with the speed incremental absolute position due to the integration of the center of the bearing with a very robust solution both the electronic and mechanics are protected with the harsh environment of the SK bearing regime with the incorporated the bearing function of the sensor electronically integrated with the incremental everything capable of detecting shaft with the speed with the direction rotation and the high resolution accuracy the number of the output poles with the 64 time with the number of the code ring poles. The number of the poles depending on the bearing diameter of the 122 deep ball groove that equals 6213 of the additional option of the reference position of the temperature reduction so the speed the direction of the sensor that is possible is not a contact sensing principle that helps ensure the long and the operational life of the SKA of the incremental sensor with a high resistance electromagnetic disturbance of the generates a reliable output. Integration roller bearing start with the bore side of the 65 millimeters alpha the number of the benefits of many universal applications of the traction motor, electrical motors, and gears. Alright, your speed, absolute position, time for the more sophisticated AC propulsion system, traction motor, absolute position, detection from the rotor, very higher accuracy required, escape to develop a completely new system for the technology, achieve the position accuracy of plus or minus 0.07%, 360 degrees, so runs resolution, example of 5632, for revolution. Sensory application we use throughout the shaft of the application as well as the end shaft of the application for the complete sensor of the unit that is going over the railway standard of the EN61373. Ability shock vibration performance electrical compatibility according to the international standard of the standard of the TEM mark for the indicator the conformity essential to the health of the safety requirements for the European directives. SKF bearing units over the incorporated bearing function for the sensor, the integrated absolute position sensor, the high resolution absolute positioning sensor, the capable of detecting shaft the position, high resulting accuracy, resolution accuracy, the sensor for the optimized motor of the encoding operation provided the absolute rotor position, rotor pole, the sensor unit that can be customized for the optimal fit to meet the customer's need, the option for the temperature sensor, for the speed sensor, the eye integrated incremental sensor, the redundancy of the opposition speed direction sensor for the non-contact sensing design that helps to provide a long operational life for the SKF, the integrated incremental sensor, highly resistant electromagnetic disturbance generated for the reliable output, the integration with the rolling bearings that offer the number of the benefit of the main industrial applications such as the traction motor, electrical motors, gears, etc. Position sensor calibrated with the SKF ready installation 0, the hybrid traction motor that we use equipped with the speed sensoring absolute position sensor, mechanical length, so sensor equipment, absolute position detection, traction motor equipped with the traction motor built, bearing unit, absolute position detection center, Chapter 9, conditioning and monitoring.